So I'll invite you to close your eyes or have a slightly downward gaze. Take a few deep breaths. And on your next in breath, we'll count to 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Now on your own, take a moment to do one more round. Take a few more deep breaths now. And when you're ready, come back to the room and open your eyes. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about step 2 in James Barras's book called Awakening Joy. And step 2 is about mindfulness and being present for your life. And I thought I'd start off with my current definition of mindfulness, which is non-judgmental, loving awareness of senses in the present moment. And I like to break that sentence down or definition down, and note that the first word is non-judgmental. And so doing my best to not be judgmental of my senses, what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, or my sense of emotions, or my sixth sense of thought. And if I'm lost in thought or experiencing difficult emotions, I use my tools, mindfulness tools, and do my best to be non-judgmental in those moments that I may find difficult. For example, when I first started to sit and be mindful and do my best to be present in each moment, and I noticed I was lost in thought, thinking about the past and worrying about the future. And then I would judge myself for not being present in that moment. And learning to be non-judgmental and know that that's what the mind does. It has thoughts, and sometimes those thoughts wander to the present. Sometimes they wander to the past, and sometimes they wander to the future. And learning to be non-judgmental in those moments has helped me be more mindful. And then loving awareness as we practice more. And one of the steps of within the book is about learning to have compassion for yourself and for other people, and to have love for yourself and for other people. And that loving awareness combined with the awareness of how the mind works and that it can wander or it can be present is really been helpful for me. And learning about the different senses that there are, the sense of sight, smell, taste, sound, and feeling. And within feeling, there can be the sensation of numbness, tingling, burning, sensation of breath. All those are part of the feeling sense. Another sense that I consider a sense, and many consider a sense, is the sense of emotion and the physical experience in your body that the emotion can elicit. Those are both two other sensations that can occur. And then the sensation or the sense of thought is another sense that I learned to think about and know that that's what the mind does. It thinks, and that's normal. And so the mind helps you with your senses, your five senses of sight, smell, taste, sound, and feeling, your sense of emotions and the physical experience of the bodily feelings that those emotions can elicit, and your sense of thought. All of that in a non-judgmental, loving, aware way in the present moment can help you be present in each and every moment and learn to savor those pleasant moments and sit with the unpleasant moments. Another thing that really helped me is to just pause and learn to take a deep breath. And I learned that from the title of this app that I used to use called Stop, Breathe, and Think. It's no longer available, but the title really helped me. And if I was feeling and noticing that I was uneasy, or anxious, or scared, or angry, I could pause and take a deep breath. And that breath would help ground me in that moment. And I could notice if I was still having those uncomfortable or difficult emotions or feelings, and I could continue to breathe. So why don't we take a moment to close your eyes or have a slightly downward gaze and take a few deep breaths. And for me, I found that that was really helpful grounding experience and could help me ground in the present in that very moment that I choose to breathe. And I also started to do something with every breath. I could breathe in and smell and breathe out and taste and breathe in and listen and breathe out and feel. And so now when my caregiver wakes me up in the morning to give me my daily medicines, I'll breathe in and smell and breathe out and taste and breathe in and listen and breathe out and feel. And I'll invite you to try that now while you're sitting here. You may choose to close your eyes or have a slightly downward gaze. And on your next in breath, smell. And on your next out breath, taste. And on your next in breath, listen. And on your next out breath, feel. On your next in breath, smell. On your next out breath, taste. On your next in breath, listen. On your next out breath, feel. And I would do that the moment before my accident, the moment I sat up and was sitting at the side of my bed. And now, after my accident, I start every morning with my daily medicines, with that exercise. And it helps remind me to have a present moment in that moment. And I feel happy because I know even if I don't remember the whole day to have a present moment, at least I was able to do it for those moments in the morning. The next thing that, one of the next things that I do in the morning, and you may do in the morning, is have tea or coffee. And I'll invite you to pour a drink of water. And I'll invite you to envision your morning tea or coffee or water or juice. Mm, Notice what you see without assigning a label. And I'll invite you to envision taking a deep breath and smelling the coffee or tea or juice or water. And if you're able to hold the container, notice what you feel. Is it warm or cool or numb or tingly? And take a sip of the drink. Feel the warmth or coolness on your lips and in your mouth. And notice the taste. And in this way, I can be present and mindful while I'm drinking my tea or coffee or juice or water. And Thich Nhat Hanh taught me that when he looked at his tea, he saw the clouds, and the clouds create the rain, which creates the water to make the coffee or tea or juice that I'm drinking. And so when I'm mindful, I look at my tea or coffee and see the clouds. Or sometimes when I'm driving and I notice the clouds, I see my coffee. And when I started to notice the clouds, I realized that I was driving around and I never noticed that there were clouds in the sky in the city that I live in, which is Houston. And since I started noticing them, I saw how many clouds there are in the sky almost every day. And so that's another mindful activity that you could consider doing while you're driving. One of the next things I do is to eat breakfast. And whether you eat breakfast or lunch or dinner or multiple meals in the day, that's another time that we could be mindful and present, not lost in thought, but looking and seeing your food, taking a deep breath and smelling as you bring the food to your mouth. Notice the feeling of your lips touching the food and your tongue and touching the food. And when you swallow, that sensation and noticing the taste. And that's another thing that I realized when I started practicing mindful eating. I realized that most of the meals I ate before that, I didn't taste, I didn't smell, I didn't feel, and I didn't see the food that I was eating. Another activity that I do and I'm sometimes present for and mindful for is when my caregiver brushes my teeth before my accident. When I would brush my teeth, I would smell the toothpaste, taste the toothpaste, and listen to the toothbrush and feel the toothbrush. And it was over 2,500 years ago when mindfulness was introduced and was taught that being present and mindful can help with end sorrow and pain, anxiety, and overcome grief. Not end sorrow, or I misspoke. It's really not end sorrow, because it was also taught that suffering and sorrow is a, a part of life. And I had heard that before, but I didn't want to believe it because I thought that there was a way for me to only be happy and never experience unhappiness or sadness or grief, pain, anger, difficult emotions that were difficult for me. I didn't think I needed to experience them, and I thought I could suppress them and or never have them. But learning that that sorrow and grief and sadness will occur and suffering will occur was something that helped me. And James Barras talks about when he learned that, then he was able to better understand that that grief and sorrow and suffering will end, and that there will be other moments, more moments of happiness and joy, contentment, presence, being okay, moments where I'm not lost in thought and scared about the future or sad and dwelling on the past. And there's a book by Ruth King and that she wrote. And in that book, which I can't remember the title right now, but in her book, she talks about nothing is perfect, permanent, or personal. And that was her way of saying that suffering will exist, and learning that nothing is perfect, permanent, or personal can help me not dwell in those sad moments or those fearful moments, and learn to appreciate and notice the moments where there's contentment or joy or happiness, and not think that life is unfair or woe is me and sit in my self pity. And James Ross also talks about a study that showed that people that are unhappy spend twice as much time thinking about unpleasant moments compared to people who are happy. And I'm hopeful that with the first step of intention to notice moments of joy, contentment, and happiness, combined with activities of mindfulness and being present in a non judgmental fashion, with loving awareness of your senses. And for the next week, your sense of sight, smell, taste, hearing, and feeling. And next week or next time we meet, we'll learn about the sense of emotions, your emotions, and how to sit with difficult emotions. And so remembering that when we're mindful, we can let go of thoughts and learn to let go of thoughts that undermine our well being, or sit with the unpleasant thoughts, or take a deep breath, or breathe in and smell, and breathe out and taste, and breathe in and listen, and breathe out and feel. And in those moments, we can choose thoughts that are uplifting and nurturing, like a deep breath, or like getting in touch with our senses, which helps bring kindness to ourselves. And we'll take a 3-minute break and get some water for me, and we'll come back at 2 or 33 minutes after the hour. Welcome back, everybody. So I'll invite you to close your eyes or have a slightly downward gaze. Take a few deep breaths. You may notice the coolness of the air coming in through the nostrils, and the warmth of the air going out. You may notice your breath coming in and out in the back of your throat. Or through the rise and fall of your chest, or the rise and fall of your belly. Now bring attention to your touch points, where your feet may be touching the ground, or your chair, or your mat, or your bed. Or your body may be touching your chair, or cushion, or mat, or mattress. Notice any areas of tension. Relax the muscles in your forehead. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Relax your jaw. Let your shoulders all the way from your ears. Relax the muscles in your arms, in your forearms, in your hands. Relax your back. Relax the muscles around your hips. Relax your thighs. Relax your legs. Relax your feet and toes. And when your mind wanders, come back to your breath. Notice any sensations in your body where you may have numbness or tingling or pain, warmth or coolness. Notice another area of your body where there may be the same sensation or a different sensation of discomfort, tingling, or numbness, or burning. And when your mind wanders, come back to your breath or other sensations in your body. Notice any sounds. You may hear a motor or a vent or traffic or train or a dog. Notice these sounds and listen without judgment. And when your mind wanders without judgment, come back to sound or bodily sensations or your breath. And in the last few moments of this meditation, take a few more deep breaths. And when you're ready, come back to the room and open your eyes. And thank you, everyone. We have a few moments to answer any questions or listen to any comments.
That was very relaxing. I I started to nod off. My head moved and woke me up. It was very good. I needed
Oh,
it today.
thank you.
Mm.
May I ask you a question? What did you, when you nodded off, when you came back, how did you feel about nodding off?
just in my head was felt like it was going to fall off because it went over. But I wanted to go back to that deep relaxation right away.
Hmm. Yes, I found that too when I started to meditate, and sometimes when I meditate now, and my instructor at the time felt that I was sleepy or um, not present, and I personally think it's a wonderful feeling, and I still like it if it happens, and if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. Um, so I learned to not be judgmental about that, and some people I feel um, I did actually feel judged in that moment when she told me that. But I've learned that's okay. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep, and if you fall asleep, you fall asleep, and maybe it's it's one of the things that meditation and mindfulness can do is it can get me to that point. In fact, it helped treat my insomnia. I had severe insomnia, and sometimes I have insomnia. Actually, most nights I have insomnia again since my accident, and I'll be present and mindful, and rather than upset and angry about not being asleep, I'll be present and mindful. And most of the time, the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the morning. So,
It almost felt like I was weightless and just floating
mm,
in space. Nice feeling.
yes, Rita.
Hi, Rex and everyone. I just wanted to circle back to Ruth King.
Yes.
Yeah, is that, would that possibly be Ruth, the book? Is that the Ruth King?
It's I remembered the name of the book. It's called Mindfulness of Race.
Yes,
Yes.
good, good. Thank you.
hmm You're welcome. When I started to meditate and learn mindfulness, I didn't realize that so many of the exercises I was doing were teaching me to be present with my senses, my sense of feeling in my body, feeling my breath in my nostrils or my throat or with the rise and fall of my belly or my chest, and feeling grounded in my chair or cushion or mat on the ground, noticing where I was touching, which is my sense of touch and sense of touch of or feeling my breath, and then learning to listen without judgment or feel bodily sensations like discomfort or an itch or burning or numbness. Those were helpful for me to realize that that's they were teaching me to be present with my sense of feeling and listening. And so as you practice more and more, that may help you. How many people have had experience bringing their sense of smell or taste or listening or feeling to eating or drinking, or those who are able to walk or walking, driving, doing the dishes, things like that? If you have experience with that and are open to share it, I'd really enjoy hearing that. Rita, did you raise your hand?
I didn't, but um,
Oh, sorry. Hi.
since you, that's okay. I was trying to see everybody else's screens. But since you mentioned me, I have been listening to the podcast I think you recommended, which is The Way Out is In from Plum Village. And these are, Thich Nhat Hanh's followers. And the episode this week was on the cup of tea and the clouds in the tea and just experiencing preparing and drinking tea. So I have been doing that this week.
Wow. More than a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming, and I really appreciate everyone being here. And we'll see you next time. And we'll cover the practice of rain, and which is recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture our emotions. And James Barras talks about that, as does in his book called Awakening Joy. And Tara Brach has an entire book dedicated to that topic called Radical Compassion. And I really enjoy listening to both of those books. We'll see you next time.